I couldn't tell you the last time I touched my tripod, and here you are, currently propped on it, or positioned on it, or what. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Are you too high? Is that better? I think so. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sutton. I'm an indie author of 12 sweet romance books, soon to be 13 in October. Author. Is that the part where I say welcome back to my channel? If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. Lord, I don't know what that is. I don't know, y'all. It's been far too long since I filmed like a sit down video where I'm like, how does it go again? In today's video, I'm going to be answering your questions on Instagram. I asked you guys over on Instagram to ask me any sort of questions, writing related, personal related, and you guys came through, so we have a few questions to answer, and that's the whole point of today's video. Before we dive in, I did just release the cover for my 13th book, Fraternizing with the Enemy. It's coming out October 18th. It is the final book in the Most Likely To series. It's going to be Madison's book, long-awaited Madison's book. So if you guys, you know, are excited for that one, go pre-order it on Amazon. I do have a pre-order goal for this one, so we'll see if we hit it. As for paperback pre-order, it's not going to be on Amazon. I'm not going to do it that way this time, but the paperback will launch around release day. So whether that's a few days before or a few days after, it just depends on, you know, the Amazon, processing, and if I submit things on time. As for special editions, though, the special edition for the original version will be going live soon, probably around September 18th. I usually like to do it like a month out. There will be a special edition of Madison's book, and it'll be going live. I haven't decided yet, mostly just because I don't have the cover yet. So once I have the cover, then I will submit the pre-order. But until then, hang in there. And final note before we hop into today's video, the special edition of Fake Dating the Football Player is still live until the 18th of September. So you have a few days left to pre-order this special edition of Landon's book if you want it. Otherwise, you will have to wait until I restock. Okay, I think that's everything. Without further ado, let's dive in. I love my shirt. It's like 3 little bears. They're so freaking cute. 3 words to describe your Christmas book. 3 words to describe my Christmas book. So if you did not know, I have a Christmas book called Christmas as We Know It. It's the only Christmas book that I've done. Oh, wait. I think this question is in regards to like the Christmas book I plan to publish. I was just gonna say, like, why are we randomly asking about Christmas as We Know It? I'm like, okay, but 3 words to publish. 3 words about, I'm assuming, my upcoming Christmas book that I'm still hoping to publish this year. We will see. The time crunch is real. 3 words to describe it. 3 words to describe it. Is it cheating to say enemies to lovers? That's 3 words, and it's true. It isn't enemies to lovers, and it's gonna be fun. I can't. It has to do with something I'm familiar with. That's more than 3 words. But a little spoiler for you. Sorry. Man, we are starting off really weak. Lord have mercy, I am like, my brain function is really weak. Wow. Are you a Harry Potter fan? If so, what's your Hogwarts house? I am not a Harry Potter fan. I think I've only ever watched the first movie, and I did not like it. I watched it, I know, blasphemous. I know. I watched it when I was like a teenager in like this is cringe era. So I watched the first movie and I'm just like, I don't see the hype. So if I gave it a chance now, I'm sure I would have more of appreciation for the movies. I think I took a quiz with my cousin once, and I don't remember what it was. Like, I want to say I was Slytherin, but like, I don't think that's true. How do you come up with your book ideas? So, I mean, I feel like the way I come up with my book ideas is kind of like different for every time. Sometimes I just pick tropes and try to brainstorm different plots that could fit in within a certain trope. Sometimes I watch a movie and think, oh, I love this trope, but I would have executed it differently, and so maybe sometimes that gives me a little bit of inspiration. Sometimes I listen to a song and I'm like, this would be a great book to write, and I write my own version of that song in book form. So I feel like it comes about in a lot of different ways. There's not one set way that I find inspiration. What romance trope would you most want to experience? Ooh, that's a fun one. I mean, friends, lovers, like, how do you beat it? How do you beat falling for a person that you just know inside and out, and like they know you inside and out? How do you beat that? That's really sweet and really swoony. And I don't have any male friends to do that with, but it'd be cute, wouldn't it? Friends, lovers. I was thinking about it the other day, like fake dating. If you had to experience like a fake dating plot IRL, I would be very bad at it. Fake flirting with somebody, I feel like I would catch feelings so fast. I'd be the cliche fake dating trope where the girl falls for the guy, and you know what I mean? That would be me. So I couldn't do that one. But friends, lovers would be fun to experience. Probably very confusing though. Like, are these feelings really romantic, or do I just like you because like I think you're an awesome person? What made you decide to go back to Madison? So in case you didn't know, Madison's book was always going to be the end of the Most Likely To series. I initially started her book back in June of 2023. I worked on it for 6 months before I had no more hair left to pull out and decided to like shelve it. And to be honest, I was kind of ready to like put it aside completely and like put it in the trash icon bin, you know? I was ready to throw it away. I think trying to force myself into Madison's book for that 6 months is ultimately like what like sealed my coffin in the burnout realm. And I spent the next year trying to claw my way back from it and feel inspired and creative again. What made me decide to go back to Madison's book was I moved back home. So I moved out of my apartment that I absolutely hated. I moved back home, and with the move back home, I found my creativity again, or my creativity found me again. And I was getting close to finishing The Princess and the Fraud, which is my most recently published book. I was getting close to finishing it. I'm like, what's going to be next? And then I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to go back and reread Madison's book, the draft that I had, because I think I had around like 30,000 words. I wanted to go back and read that draft and just see how I was feeling about it. And so I went back. I remember going back to reread it, and I loved what I had. I loved the phrasing. I loved how Madison's voice was coming through. And I'm like, this is so funny, because I remember I had spent those 6 months absolutely hating every single word that I wrote, thinking it was garbage and wanting to trash it. And I read it back, and I'm like, what do you mean, Sarah? Like, this is so good. So it was kind of just like I got back to a headspace where I was able to tackle it. And to be honest, Madison's book is probably the most complex book I have written in my history of writing, because like there's so many books that Madison has been in, like featured in, cameoed in the Most Likely To series, that like I needed to make sure she was where she was supposed to be in every single scene. So it was really complex and required a lot of brain power. And back when I was working on it 2 years ago, I was really running kind of close to empty. That I really didn't have that brain power to spare in terms of like, you know, making sure every detail was correct and there was no plot holes. Yeah, that's ultimately why I went back to it, just because like I was ready for my next project and I didn't know what it was going to be. And you know, Madison's book, I was like, well, what is it like? Let me just go back and read it and see what it was like, see if I resonated with it. And I did, and that's how it came to be. But oh my gosh, was this book a lot of work. If all your main characters met, which ones do you think would be besties? Oh, ooh, with each other. Who would be besties with Remy? I feel like Sophia and Maisie would be besties. Sophia would fit really well into Maisie's friend group. Who would be Remy's friend? I feel like Remy would be friends with Lacey. Oh, for sure. For sure. Lacey would also love Margot. Would love Margot. Who would be friends with Addie? Gemma and Addie, I feel like, would be really good friends. They kind of have similar kind of calmer vibes to them, I feel like. Blair. Who'd be friends with Blair? Lacey would probably be friends with Blair. I feel like their energy kind of is similar as well. What would you guys say? Leave it in a comment down below. Who do you think would be besties if they all met? Which love interests of yours would you most want to date IRL? So my love interests are teenagers. So let's age them up, you know, let's say they're 25. Personality wise, who would I want to date the most? I'm having a hard time. To be honest, I really do love the sort of shy, you know, full send kind of character that Landon is. I think it's so cute how like he just is like so enamored with Lacey that of course anybody would love a guy who is enamored with them. Harry's great. I love his confidence, you know, and his like kind of charisma. But I don't know if I'd like to date a guy like that. I don't know if he'd be too cocky for me. I don't know. Logan, to be honest. Logan in Madison's book coming up, if he were 25, I would date him. because like he's got such great qualities that I just, yeah, that'd be great. Which of your characters do you personally identify the most with? Ooh, so I actually thought about this the other day. Currently, of all the books I have published, who do I identify the most with? I don't think if there's any character that's really similar to me. Temperament-wise, I would say Maisie and I are pretty similar temperament-wise, although I hate math, and she loves math. So that's different personality, like that passion-wise. But if I get around to publishing my Christmas book, that character is very much so like me. And like, you guys will see it if you read it, but I think this is one character that when I was writing this book, I was going through like my lowest. So it was back 2023, 2024. I was trying to write this book. And so in the plotting process, I created a character that was very similar to me. And now, I mean, like, I'm different now, but she still is very similar to how I was in that time. And like, I could change some aspects, but I feel like it really suits the story that I'm trying to tell in that regard. But if I publish my Christmas book, she is very much so Sarah Sutton from her sad girl era. How do you find inspiration when you feel like you're behind? And I feel like this is a really tough one to tackle. Like, when you feel behind, you're definitely feeling a negative emotion, so it's going to be hard to feel inspired and creative. But like I said, whenever I'm trying to find inspiration, I turn to movies, music. So I usually like to sit down and like marinate in music and like kind of, you know, try and find a song that I really like, and I can, you know, I like the story within the song. I feel like I had this feeling when I was writing, or before I was writing Margot's book and before I was writing Lovey's story, like I was feeling behind in my publishing process and my career. I kind of just was like listening to what my gut was telling me, and I was writing the story that was on my heart at the time. I feel like we all have a story that, you know, is on our heart at least a little bit, even if it's not a fully developed story idea. And sometimes, even if you're not feeling it creatively, sometimes you do have to have that self-discipline of, I have to sit down and I have to write for 2 hours. And sometimes that is literally like pulling teeth. It's still giving you that forward momentum that you need. But don't do it all the time. If you're finding yourself forcing yourself to do it all the time, sit down, evaluate, like, is this project even working? Do I need to start on a new project? Do I need to, you know, fix something else within myself? Like, what's going on? Get to the root of that problem. Because don't force yourself to write a book for 6 months. It's not a good thing. It's not good. How many beta readers do you usually have read a book? I recently went back to beta readers. Otherwise, I have been away from beta readers since teaching the Teacher's Pet. This time, I had 2 beta readers read Madison's book just to kind of, you know, gauge where I was at, you know, and that sort of thing for me. I wouldn't do more than 2. I pulled away from beta readers because it was very hard for me to have so much input into my creative process, because a lot of times people can have differing opinions, or they'll suggest something that is just like more personal based than objective based. So just because they don't like a subplot, they'll say, oh yeah, I don't like this subplot. And objectively, there's nothing wrong with it, but subjectively, they just didn't enjoy it. I'm somebody though who has a really tough time dealing with a lot of different subjective opinions. And so that is initially why I moved away from beta reading. The reason why I went back to beta reading this time is just because I did not have the time frame to hire a developmental editor. And the previous developmental editors I've used, everything that I knew was wrong with the book is what they told back to me. I haven't had a developmental edit that I'm like, oh, I missed this not working. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I know exactly what they're going to say, and I'm paying them to say it back to me. It just kind of felt a little bit convoluted. But this time, I used to. Have you been watching any K-dramas besides 2521? I have been. I'm currently watching one called Head Over Heels. Love it so far. I'm currently watching one called Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, I think is what it's called. It's very good too. It's kind of a little bit like, you know, it's kind of different for me. I don't usually like the kind of tone that it has. I finished I don't know if they're called K-dramas when they're movies. Let me know in the comments below. But I recently finished a Korean movie. It was called like Love Untangled. For some reason, I did not like that movie. I don't know what it was. It was just not for me. I feel like I barely watched it because I was just so bored during it. It was a very long movie too. I think that's all I'm currently watching. Which one did I just finish? I think I just finished Trigger, and that was so good. I rated it 4 hearts. Will there be a special editions for the Love and Fenton County books, Two Kinds of Us? So I'm not gonna say definitively yes or no. It's not something that's in the near future plans, but for 2026, who knows? Are you a Swiftie? If so, favorite song / album? To be honest, I would not call myself a Swiftie. I don't know much about Taylor Swift at all. I don't know much about her lore. And I don't have a favorite album. I do have some favorite songs. I like a lot of her music. I just don't know her at all as a person. Lately, I've really been loving Fresh Out the Slammer, Guilty as Sin, and Fortnite. I feel like those are the ones I continuously go back to. If you had to pick one book that got published by a company, which would it be? If you had to pick one book that got published by a company. I don't know what that means. If you had to pick one book that got published by a company, one book of mine that got published. No, one book that got published by, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Like one traditionally published book, if I had to pick one traditionally published book. Let's say they're asking me to pick one traditionally published book. I would pick Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. I love that book series, the Infernal Devices series, but I should probably reread that. That book always gives me the fall vibes, so that'll be a fun book to reread for the fall. How do you stay consistent with writing and finishing one book before starting the next? I don't think I can really talk about consistency because I went from publishing 3 books a year to publishing 1 book a year, so I don't feel like it's fair for me to be talking about consistency when I haven't been consistent with it. But what I like to try to do is when I send my book off to the editor, I usually do it 2 times. This time I'm only doing it once. But when the book is off to the editor, I try to work on the next draft of my next book. And when it comes back to me, I work on that book and then I send it off to the editor again. Then I continue working on that draft, or I work on the next draft of that book, the next book. That way I'm kind of always working on something. I don't really have a lot of downtime. You know, some people might look at that and be like, oh, I need a break, and that's totally fine. Personally, I'm somebody who does well without breaks. I've always been that way. Even back before burnout, I really didn't like taking dedicated weeks off. I would rather just take a day off here and there if I feel like I need it, rather than take dedicated like weeks off. I'm not good at that. Because it's really hard for me to jump back in to the flow of things once that week or 2 is up. But that's generally how I like to do it. That way I'm always working on something. My brain is always in that writing creative mode. And that typically is, you know, what gets the books published on a consistent-ish basis. But that's also why I fell off the wagon before, because I was working so hard on Madison's book for 6 months, and then it just, my whole routine fell apart from there. Which book is your favorite out of the released books? And this is not a nice question. Lately, I have been loving Landon and Lacey's book. I don't even know what it is. I just feel like the romance is one of my favorite romances, just because it's kind of got that like sort of faded vibe. And I really like the story. I really like how you kind of have a little bit of a surprise at the end. I would say Fake Dating a Football Player. Definitely. You're my favorite author tuber. I'm so honored. Any tips for a new vlogger? Film everything you can writing related, if that's what your niche is going to be. Film everything you can, talk about everything you can writing related. Growth is going to be a little bit slow at first, but definitely stick with it. Try to film like videos that are searchable, so like writing challenges are really great, or I tried writing like, or I wrote at a cafe. Those kinds of videos do really well. Plain vlogs, like how I do, don't really do well in terms of performing, just because like people aren't always looking for a new vlog to watch off the bat, but once they watch like a writing challenge video and they like your personality, then they'll stick around. Then like they'll have searched for that writing challenge, they see you do it, and then they'll stick around. Nobody's really searching for quick writer updates. Do you know what I mean? No one really is. So, but stick with it. You know, you're gonna get more comfortable behind the camera eventually. I feel like I, you know, got the hang of it pretty quickly. Yeah, congratulations. Very exciting. Leave your channel name down below if you've already started one. Do you find it hard to date and be an author? Are you looking to date? So this is funny. I wouldn't say it's hard to date. I would say it's hard to meet people to date. I've been on the dating apps and they're not great, you know. It is hard to find dates. I mean, I'm open to dating, I suppose. I'm not against it. But like I said, it's really hard to find dates. If it happens, it happens. But I guess I wouldn't say it's hard to date as an author. It doesn't set me that much apart. It's just hard to meet people. How do you plan to map out the settings / towns in your books? To be honest, it is kind of more like, you know, develops as it goes. I wouldn't say I plan out anything too much. I am currently planning out the town for my next book series. And it's just me kind of imagining the town, the setting, and things like that. I'm not like hardcore planning, like writing anything down or anything like that. I take inspiration from places around me. or places that I've seen in movies and TV. Like, you know, I just kind of take that sort of inspiration, I would say. I'm not a fantasy author, so it's not like I need to be super nitty-gritty and detailed with my settings and things like that, which I'm very thankful for because I'm really bad at the immersion when it comes to settings. But there are 2 books I really do recommend. I have the urban setting thesaurus, but there's also a rural setting thesaurus I'm going to buy soon because my next book series is going to be like a very rural area. So I need that book. Yeah, I would say I just pull some inspiration from other places and I morph it around in my head till I get what I want. And then I kind of just write it. I don't really plan it out on paper, on a note stock or anything like that. If I'm ever going to make this my town, my setting, a prominent thing, I should. And then the last question, any new books in the works? And yes, I have 2 right now. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, Madison's book is coming out October 18th. It is a secret relationship, forbidden romance between a cheerleader at Brentwood High and the quarterback of Jefferson High, 2 totally rival schools, and if anybody finds out, Madison is done for, especially if her best friend, co-captain on the cheer squad, Jade, finds out. She's dead and buried and, you know, sacrificed on the football field, sort of betrayal. And it's very fun, very cute. I really liked writing their romance. It's coming out, like I said, October 18th, and you can go and pre-order it. The link to do so is in the description box. And then the other book that I'm working on right now is a Christmas book that I can hopefully get finished in time. We will see. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Comment a fingers crossed emoji down below if you've gone to this point in the video and you are also rooting for me to publish the Christmas book, because we're getting really tight to the deadline. And that is all the questions I have from Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for asking your questions, submitting your questions. It was really fun to sit down and chat with you guys about all the different topics. Follow me over on Instagram at Sarah Sutton Books, and thank you for being here. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that thumbs up button and tap subscribe so you stick around and you can see the next upload from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sarah Sutton. I'm an indie author of 12, soon to be 13 books, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.